Hey guys, thanks so much for joining me today. My name is Michelle Sinclair. I am a certified consulting hypnotist, and I'm here to teach you, show you some super cool tips and tricks, things that you can do so that you can begin a at-home exercise routine starting today and actually feeling motivated and wanting to do it. So I'm going to teach you about a reward system. Our mind loves to be rewarded, so we are going to constantly be rewarding it. I'm going to teach you how to do that using some jars, something that we can do so that we always see it sitting out and remind us of the goal that we want to do. I'm going to teach you about musts versus should, how you talk to your brain to get it to do the things that you want it to do. And I'm also going to show you a couple examples of why it really matters what you think, how what you think is such an important thing. And I'm going to show you super cool, fun examples of that. And when you learn these, you can show people and they're going to think that they're totally amazing. So thank you for joining me today. I'm really excited. Let's just jump right into it and get started. One of the biggest things to remember when you're starting out, especially if this is something that is totally brand new to you, is that it can be frustrating if we have 100 pounds to lose or more and it just doesn't come off as fast as we want it, right? We want everything instantly, but that just isn't how it works. So if you think about this, when you set out your goal of why it is that you want to start exercising, if it is for weight loss, when you come up with that number, I want you to look at that number really realistically. Let's say, for example, that it is 50 pounds that you want to lose. So if it's 50 pounds in 1 year, if you lost 1 pound a week, you will have lost 52 pounds. So sometimes we can step on the scale. It's been a month, I've been working out, I've only lost 4 pounds. That's huge, because if you continue on that same pattern, which is sustainable, in 1 year, you will have lost 52. So that 4 in 1 month might not seem like that much to you, but it really is huge. It's all about just sticking to it. So just be really realistic with your goal. We don't want to lose 20 pounds in a week. Maybe we want to, but it is just not good. It's not sustainable. And you know, if ever you've done that in the past, it doesn't last. It doesn't last because it's not being done in a healthy way. So what we want to do with this is to really just change the way that we live, change ourselves into having a healthier lifestyle, including this exercise. It's not about a crash diet. We don't diet. We just eat healthier, eat less, and add some exercise into our routine. So don't get down on yourself if you start exercising and it is not coming off 10 pounds a week. That's not something we want. We want it to be slow. Doesn't sound so fun, right? But it's just the way that it works to be sustainable. So you can do it. I know you can do it. So come up with that number. If you don't have a number yet of what your weight loss goal is, and if it's not a weight loss goal, if it's just to get motivated to get moving again, just really clearly define that goal. How is it that you want to feel? Okay, so what we need to figure out now is why. Why do I want to work out? When you have a very specific goal in mind, it becomes so much easier to stay on track. So if your goal is to lose weight, figure out exactly how much. I know a lot of people are, oh, I just, want to lose some weight or whatever, but have a very specific number. So when you look at the scale, decide what your goal is, and you can always change these goals, but let's say I want to lose 23 pounds. So just being very specific with your numbers, because once you've then reached that 23-pound weight loss, you'll know it. You'll be able to say, hey, I reached my goal. If you want to then set another goal after that, you can do that. So just coming up with a very specific number for what it is that you want. So if your goal is not to lose weight, perhaps it's to increase cardio strength. Just think about right now, how many minutes of a cardio type exercise can you do without having to stop and take a break? So let's say that is currently 3 minutes. What do you want that goal to be? So that you know once you've got there. Maybe you want 10 minutes of sustained exercise in a row. You can do whatever it is that you want there. So just the very first time that you work out, think, how many minutes did I do without having to sit down and take a break? What is it that I want to do? Maybe your goal is to feel better in your clothes. Maybe there's a specific outfit that you have that you want to fit back into again, or a certain size that you want to be. So just writing those down, being very specific about what it is that you want. So once you have obtained it, you know it. Okay, so while beginning our fitness goal, the very first thing to do is to fill out this form. So if you've got some paper, you've got some pen, I want you to go and get this. Pause this video. You're going to write this out. So after and you have to pick something. So just when is it that you want to work out? So an example of what you could put in here would be after I wake up, after I eat lunch, after whatever it is that is going to work for you. So think about a time in your day that you can schedule out a time to work out. So come up with something after something that you do every day. So we all wake up in the morning, we all eat lunch, we all have lots of things that we do all the time, all day long. Pick something that you already have to do and say, after I do this thing. So come up with this. Filling this out, super important. This lets your brain see when we are going to do what we're going to do. So then we're going to pick our type of exercise. So after I wake up, what kind of exercise do you want to do? Do you want to run on your treadmill? Do you want to go on your stair climber? Do you have a gym? If you don't, there's so many free YouTube videos. My very favorite is Rebecca Louise Fitness. She is free on YouTube. Best girl ever. I've been watching her for years. She has 10-minute videos. They are wonderful. So after I wake up, I will do Rebecca Louise Fitness video for length of time. I'm going to pick 10 minutes because most of her videos are 10 minutes. I can do multiple ones of them, but I'm just going to choose to do 10 minutes. If I end up doing more, that's great. If I don't, I'm going to feel fabulous with that 10 minutes there. Next, we have to pick a location. This location may not seem important, but it is very important. We don't want to leave anything up to chance. We don't want to make our mind figure out anything. We want everything to be laid out perfectly so our mind knows exactly what we want it to do. So I am going to pick in my living room. So after I wake up, I will do a Rebecca Louise Fitness video for 10 minutes in my living room. So fill out a form exactly like this. You actually have to write it out. And did you know that when we write things out, it actually goes into our subconscious mind, makes it easier to remember, unlike typing that doesn't do that. So actually just write this out for yourself. Okay, so now you have your plan laid out, when you're going to work out, what you're going to do. So I'm going to show you a reward system using 2 jars that can really help you to stay on track. So it has been proven that people who keep a food log lose twice as much weight as those who don't. So having something that you are actually physically doing and keeping track of something can help to keep you motivated and to stay on track. So what I'm going to show you is an example with a couple of jars of how just moving something from one jar to another jar can be super rewarding and help you stay on track. And it's super simple. This is something you can do for yourself. It's also something that if you're stuck at home right now, you can do this with your entire family. Maybe they want to do it for something other than exercise, but this reward system that I am about to show you really works for anything. Okay, now here is our jar reward system. So in the jar on the left, I have 4 poker chips. You can decide however many you want in there, whatever it is that your goal is, but whatever you do, start really, really small. Start small, you can always add to it. So in this jar here on the left, I have 4 poker chips. This blue chip represents my very first minute of exercise. So when I have completed my first minute of exercise, I get to move this chip from this jar into this jar. This red one represents 10 minutes of exercise. So if I've done that first minute and I do another 10, I get to move this one over. This red one represents another 10 minutes. Maybe I do it at the same time and make it a 20-minute workout, or maybe I don't and I do 2 separate 10-minute workouts. But eventually I get to move this one into this jar. And then this last one, just for fun, you can use it for whatever you want. I am going to give you an example that you could use, not eating or snacking after supper time. So if you make it through your day, you haven't snacked after supper time, you get to move that one into that final jar as well. So then tomorrow when I wake up, once I've completed all of these things, I've been rewarded, I get to switch these around and start over again. So seeing these sit on your counter, having them somewhere that they're visible, that you're walking by them all the time, being reminded all the time is the best thing that you can do. Have these sitting out somewhere so every time you walk by you think, oh, I just want to get that done with, and you go and you do your 10 minutes of exercise, maybe you do 20, whatever it is that you decide for yourself. Simple reward system, but it really does work. So now that we've got this reward system set up, we're going to talk about the way that you think, because the way that you think is very, very important. In fact, the way that you think, the things that you believe, and the things that you think about are shown every day by the way that you live. When we think of ourselves in a certain way, like I believe that I'm not someone who gets exercise, I'm not someone who takes care of myself, our mind will prove these things to us over and over again by showing us those results of our beliefs, and by not taking care of ourselves and not doing the things that we wish that we could be doing. So our belief is really huge. So when you think about yourself in a different way, when you start to believe different things about yourself, your whole entire life changes. So me and my daughter are going to give you an example of why it really matters about how you think about yourself. And then I'm going to show you another example about what you think about and why it really, really matters, so that we can begin to change our mindset and start to just treat ourselves in a more loving and better way. Okay, so I am here with my daughter, Olivia, who is 12. I don't know how she's taller than me, but anyways, we are going to show you that what you think really matters. So you're going to start, you do need a partner for this. You're going to start, I'm going to push on her hands and she's going to resist me. So I'm not going to try to push her over, but I'm going to push hard enough that she has to push back so she doesn't get pushed over. So just pushing on my hands. Okay, now she's going to close her eyes and think something positive about herself. Okay, perfect. Okay, and now switch that to a negative thought. I want you to think something really negative about yourself. Okay, so now you couldn't feel what I was feeling, but the strength and power that comes from her thinking positively is amazing compared to what happens as soon as you switch that to a negative thought about yourself. It physically drains the energy out of your body when you think poorly of yourself. But we're going to, just for fun, show you that it also matters what you think about other people. So, ready? Closing your eyes, press on my hands. Perfect. Okay, think something positive about somebody that you know. Awesome. Okay, now switch that. Think something negative about somebody that you know. Perfect. Okay, so it has the same effect. I just wanted to show you that, to slip this in there, to show you that gossip matters. You know, when you sometimes have that group of friends and they talk a lot really badly about other people, you leave their house, you leave that conversation, and you don't feel good about it, it is because it physically drains the energy out of your body. So it really, really matters what you think. Try this experiment out with somebody in your house. Thank you for joining me today. Awesome. So you're going to glue your feet onto the floor, keeping them in the exact same place this entire exercise, keeping your feet in the same place. You're going to take your arm up. You're going to look at your thumbnail. Now we're not going to go across. We're going to twist outside to the outside as far as you can possibly twist. So as you twist, going as far as you can possibly go, you're going to put a red thumbprint on the wall in your mind when you have gone as far as you can possibly go, so that you remember how far it was that you went. Now, you're going to close your eyes. You are going to imagine that you are twisting all the way around. You're going to imagine you can see that red thumbprint on the wall, and you're going to go way past it in your mind, way, way past it. Now, once you've done that, same thing as before, feet still in the exact same spot. You're going to put your arm up again, and this time you're just going to twist as far as you can possibly go, and you're going to see it's much farther this time. So why did that happen? So the very first time when you twisted, you said something to yourself to stop it. Perhaps you said, oh, my back hurts, that's as far as I can go. Whatever it was, you gave yourself a little signal to stop through a thought. Now, when we saw with our mind, and keep in mind, seeing is believing when it comes to our subconscious mind, even though you didn't actually necessarily believe you could twist any farther, seeing is believing. So when your mind saw that, it believed it could go farther. And so it let you go farther, believing it was safe, that you weren't going to injure yourself. Seeing is believing. So I'm really excited for you guys for the hypnosis recording that I've made for you guys, because it's really going to make a big difference. When you can see something as small as this, change the way that you think just by thinking a little bit different, by seeing something a little bit different, that recording is really going to make a big difference for you. So stay tuned, because we're about to show you another cool thing of why it matters what you think. Okay, so why did those few examples matter so much? They really matter because when we think of ourselves in a certain way, we will prove that thing to ourselves over and over again. So if we believe that we are someone who is too lazy to do that, who just doesn't feel like doing exercise and workouts and things like that, if we really think of ourselves, talk to ourselves in that way, and believe those things about ourselves, we will prove ourselves right all the time. So begin by asking yourself, if I was someone who exercised daily, what would I do? And imagine what that looks like. If I was someone who exercised daily, how would I eat? And imagine how you would eat. Anytime that you're trying to do something, the best way to do that is to take an example of someone who already does that and just follow suit. Do exactly what they do. So a lot of times people say, I've tried everything. I've done this, I've done that. Nothing seems to work for me. You haven't tried everything. If you tried everything, you would be successful. Or perhaps you've tried something, but the results didn't come fast enough, and so you quit. So the best way to do it is think of someone who really wants to achieve something. What is it about them that gets them to that goal? The thing that gets them to that goal is sticking to it. It's just not giving up. On the days when you don't feel like doing it, it's doing it anyways. On the days that you just want to give up and want to quit and not finish your workout, it's just finishing it anyways. So when you think about yourself in a different way, it really begins to change those thoughts and those patterns. So one thing we're going to do here is tapping. I don't know if you guys have ever done tapping before, but it is super, super effective. So I'm just going to lead you through a tapping exercise, because if there's any blocks, if there's any resistance that we have to changing current patterns, to changing current things that we're doing, it makes it very difficult to start those new things. So this tapping is just really going to help you to release that. Okay, so these tapping points are very simple. You're going to actually say what I'm saying out loud at the same time I'm saying it. I'm going to say it. We're going to tap on our forehead, temples, under our eyes, under our nose, chin, collarbones, and wrists together. So we're just going to start. We're going to say the negative things, the things that maybe we're afraid of. So sometimes I'm afraid that if I start an exercise routine, I'll quit, or I'll fail, or it will be too hard and I will give up. Sometimes I think that I can't do it, that it's too much work, that I'm too lazy or I'm too unmotivated to even begin. But I know that that's not true. I know I'm going to be okay. I know in the past when I made a decision, I was able to stick with it when it was something I really wanted. So sometimes I'm too hard on myself. Sometimes I don't think nice things about myself. Sometimes I criticize myself, or I'm just plain mean. But I know that I'm going to be okay. I won't always think this way. I won't always feel this way about myself. I know I can succeed because this is something I really want. This is a change I need to make for myself, for my health, and because it's in my best interest. And I know because of this, I can make that change and I'm going to be okay. And then just taking a nice deep breath. And you're just going to shake your hands out and just see how you feel now. Just notice how it is that you feel. Probably nice and calm, feel really good. So tapping can really make a big difference in our life. So if you really liked this tapping, there's a ton of videos on YouTube that you can search up that you can add tapping into your life. Okay, and so right now we are going to talk about should versus must. So how many times have you told yourself that you should do something, and how many times have you actually followed through and done it? Very few, right? That is because should is a recommendation. And when our mind sees something as a recommendation, what that means is it gives us two options. It gives us the option to do it, and it gives us the option not to, and to continue along the way that we have been doing things, which is not doing it. Now, which is easiest? Not doing it. That is the route that our mind will pick. Our mind likes to do things that are easy. Now, however, when you tell yourself you must do something, it is not a recommendation. It is something that our mind sees as unavoidable. Now, when something is unavoidable, we end up just doing it. If I tell you, you must go and do the laundry, well, you're going to go and do the laundry because your mind sees yourself doing it and it goes and does it. Whereas if I say you should go and do some laundry, your mind will see you doing it. It'll see you maybe not doing it. You might put it off. You might forget. It won't happen, and it won't be a big deal to you because it wasn't a priority, making it a must. So how can we use this system, this should versus must? In those 2 minutes, when you very first wake up in the morning, this is when you can tell yourself something. You say it in your head, you say it in your own mind, and when you are telling yourself this, you're just closing your eyes, going over your list of musts that you do that day. So you close your eyes and you tell yourself in your mind, I must exercise. And all you have to do is hold that image in your mind of you exercising and maybe having a smiling on your face, looking as though you're enjoying it. Holding that image for just a few seconds, that is all that it takes for it to go into your mind and your brain to think, this is a priority and I need to do this. It is just something so simple that you can do for yourself. So when you wake up in the morning, that very first thing that you do, just for a couple seconds, close your eyes. Tell yourself, I must get however many minutes of exercise today, which has already been predetermined by the amount of chips or marbles or rocks or whatever it is that you have in your jars. So if you're going to start out with 10 minutes of exercise, or if 10 minutes seems like it's too much, you can start with 5 minutes of exercise. You can take those 2 poker chips, And you can use one for the first minute and one once you've completed 5 minutes. Start low, go slow so that you can achieve it. Okay, so now you've got something to do first thing in the morning, your shoulds versus must. You've got your jars set out that are somewhere visible, maybe your kitchen counter, somewhere that you walk past multiple times a day. So every time that those come into sight, you think, oh, I better just go and get that done. And now I'm going to teach you self-hypnosis. So this is something that you can say to yourself before you fall asleep at night that really reinforces change. It changes patterns in your brain. And like we saw before, whatever you see in your mind becomes what your mind believes. So when you fall asleep at night, this is when you can tell yourself something in those 2 minutes before you fall asleep. This is when you repeat something to yourself, you tell your mind something, and you hold that image in your mind and you feel it. So what we are going to do, what we're going to say to ourselves is, every day I exercise for however many amount of minutes you chose, and I feel great. Now you're going to tell yourself this 10 times. So how you keep track of that is every time you say it, press a finger down into the mattress. Every time you say it, all the way up until 10. If you happen to fall asleep before you've said it 10 times, totally fine, doesn't matter. So closing your eyes, you're saying this in your head, telling yourself, every day I exercise for 10 minutes and I feel great. Every day I exercise for 10 minutes and I feel great. Telling yourself that 10 times. It is really that simple. That is all you have to do. And while you are imagining this, just imagine what that looks like. See yourself exercising and try to capture the feeling that is there of just feeling really good about yourself, feeling really proud of yourself that you are doing that. Okay, so that about wraps it up. I am so glad that you guys joined me today. So just remember, when you are first starting out, just be kind to yourself. Pick a really low number of the amount of minutes of exercise that you want to do, because you can always bump it up. But that reward, we want to keep that reward there, and we want to keep it totally obtainable. So if that means starting out with 5 minutes of exercise, moving that poker chip into that other jar after 5 minutes of exercise, let's start out that way. And then when you feel like you're ready for 10 minutes, 15, 20, however high you want to take that number to, then bump it up. But you guys can do it. The only thing left to do is to listen to that hypnosis recording that we've attached here, so that you guys can just really kickstart it and just change those patterns and those habits in your brain and develop new and healthy habits. You guys can follow me on Instagram under Certified Hypnosis Solutions. Also under the same title on Facebook. I post neat tips and tricks and things under there. But I want you guys to really take care of your health, stay safe. We are all in this all together with what's going on in the world. And so I'm just sending you so much love and health, and I wish the best for all of you. Thank you so much for joining me today. Best wishes to everybody.
So just to go over this one more time, the I musts in the morning, telling yourself I must exercise, and the jar reward system, you actually need to get a jar, can't just use the one that you have in your mind, and self-hypnosis. So telling yourself 10 times as you're falling asleep, saying it in your mind, every day I work out for however many minutes and I feel great, telling yourself that 10 times. Super important. That's the best step that you can take, and you guys have got this. It really matters what you think.
Hey guys, so I just also want to mention, if you've got some time and you want to read a really interesting book, there is a book called Atomic Habits by James Clear, and a couple of the exercises that we have used or that we're using in this video, the jars and filling out exactly where you're going to be exercising and for how many minutes, that is mentioned in this book here. So if you're interested, it's a really great resource.